From retro to next gen, we've got it all. I'm George, a Gen X grown-up, and this is Bit by Bit. Here's an interesting bit of news from Maristation over at AS.com. Nightdive has announced plans to resurrect some old PS3 and Xbox 360 games, but they are going to run into some challenges, as you might imagine. So while it might be a little bit easier to replicate or emulate something like a 2600 or an Intellivision or any of those systems, when you start getting up into the newer platforms, and I say newer because I'm an old person, I know these are much older to younger people, but PS3 and Xbox 360, those have a lot more technical hurdles to overcome because of the complexity of the systems. And so recently they had a chat with Stephen Nick, who is one of the people over at Nightdive Studios. He's the head, actually, and director of business development. Larry Cooperman was also involved in this. And they talked about how they want to bring these older games into the more modern era, kind of like they've done recently with some other titles. The System Shock 2 obviously has been the most prominent one of late. And what I think is really interesting is they're talking about the architecture here. This is a very quick read, 2-3 minutes. But then down here, it's not just the architecture. They have a big missing code problem because a lot of the companies and the producers and the studios that developed these games just simply don't exist anymore. But Nightdive does have a plan. They plan to work directly with the original developers where possible to try and fill in the gaps of that code, maybe get some discs or CDs or whatever those guys were using at that point to fill in the gaps, kind of Jurassic Park, plug in the DNA where it needs to be kind of situation, I imagine. But yeah, I'm really happy that Nightdive under Atari's direction now is getting a lot more support and a lot more ambitious to bring a whole bunch of titles into the modern age that we can still enjoy and love today. All right, just a quick bit from our friends over at TimeExtension.com. Polymega has finally given another update on their much-delayed light gun. The GCO1 was supposed to come out last year, but they just gave us another X-Twitter update here, just saying that final production units are going to go out to press later this month. Now, not to consumers, but press, and this was on April 3rd, so sometime in April. My guess is probably the last day of April, knowing how these things go. More info forthcoming, so stay tuned on the releases of the game to the masses shortly thereafter. I wonder how the tariff situation is going to impact these plans, because this was on April 3rd, obviously, and we've had a lot of stuff happen here in the U.S. since then. But the reason what made me want to throw this out there is look how the original article was back in October of 2024. And back then they were saying that they were getting ready to ship the order. So I don't know what happened. Did they run into some kind of problem with the run? Was there something going on at the factory that they didn't get them produced? It's just very weird. I mean, this is, I'm sure, a complex piece of equipment, but to go from October plans of shipping till April the next year, and we're just sending them out to press, that just feels really long to me. So hopefully they get it right, because I know that people love these Polymega guns, and I want to see them in the hands of gamers. And here's another retro gaming bit from our friends over at TimeExtension.com. Turns out that there was a port of Sensible Soccer for the NES. It was long forgotten and lost, and nobody thought they'd ever find it again, but they have, the people over at Games That Weren't, GTW, have found this almost complete code from a game that was released back in 1993. Now, originally, it's released on a whole bunch of different systems: Game Boy, Mega Drive, SNES, Jaguar, so on and so forth. I played it on the Amiga back in the day. But yeah, they found this because they were going through and repairing some discs, doing some disc recovery work, they say, and they found this backup code for this NES version of the game. Now, apparently it's not 100% perfect. There's some bugs and glitches that would have been ironed out had the release gone to market. But of course, the NES itself was kind of on the downslide at that point. I mean, obviously the SNES is out, you know, a whole bunch of other more powerful systems in the new modern era at that point, in modern 93, but still, it's really cool. They got some video here that you can go check out in this article. Boy, I tell you, the time extension people always find the coolest stuff. And here's a retro gaming cheat bit from GamesRadar.com. Apparently a player recently crashed his Super Mario Bros. 2 game and found a way to make an iconic speed run. This happened earlier this year, around March 13th. This guy, going by Luigi's Sidekick, he just posted a couple of clips of his crashed game on Twitter that he was playing on the Nintendo Switch Online NES library. And apparently something in the clips allowed some other, like, speedrunner people to figure out that, hey, you can use this crash to do some arbitrary code execution, or ACE as they call it. I'm learning all new things all the time, as you can tell. And you can set some of the assets into specific places in the game that allows you to almost instantly finish it. It's really cool. There's some other people now who have done some videos of how to do it. They don't think that this is something that a human being would be able to replicate, so you'd have to let a computer algorithm do it, but it could eventually, I guess, make it so that you can complete Super Mario Bros. 2 in an outstandingly, incredibly fast time. And here's a nostalgic bit from MSN.com, 25 photos of what gaming looked like in the past. All right, number one, you guys know I'm not really a big fan of MSN.com and their retro photo things that they do this way. I'm also not a big fan of the title. I think that's very vague and generic, but then again, the titles of my videos kind of suck too, so I guess I really shouldn't complain too much. But this one really kind of warmed my heart. So they've got a little, like, synopsis of what they were going for in this and some of these pictures that they've collected in this retrospective. Starts off with this little bifold slide, but look at some of this stuff now. Some of these, like, subtitles, I don't really know. I don't think that's James and Dave Franco. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. It doesn't look, maybe it is. I have no idea. But here's, like, some stuff that really kind of brings me back to my days as a child. Like, look at these two people playing the 2600 on the floor of a living room. Boy, that is absolutely 1970s and early 1980s Americana right there. If you got some people playing Defender in an arcade, look at those haircuts. That could have been me with that big bush of hair right there. Oh my goodness, here's a black and white with a whole bunch of Pac-Man machines lined up. Look, this guy in the cowboy hat. That's awesome. I mean, they've got some cool images on here. It's definitely worth giving them a few clicks. Look at this. Look at that old... That could have been John. That really, really could have been John. Or maybe Mo with that carpet and everything. Yeah, that could have been Mo as well. Anyway, oh, look, here's somebody getting a Nintendo 64 for the first time. A little bit more modern of a photo. Boy, I just love that wood paneling. Look at this. This is just a gorgeous collection of old gaming photos. I really think you should go check it out. That's going to do it for the news making headlines in the gaming world right now. I am George, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep on bringing you the news bit by bit.